Hi, what's going on? Variety podcast. Variety podcast for this week coming up real hot. We'll wait just a second here and see if anybody is going to show up for this. So, just letting you know, for those of you who might be watching this as a video later, I'm not sure if any of you do that, but that's a good option if you're not able to make it to the podcast, which I know a lot of you aren't most of the time. I can tell by the viewership. Like you guys aren't able to make it to it a lot, but if you still want to kind of hear what's being talked about and things like that, you can come back and watch these as they're being posted as a video. I think that's a pretty good option. Yeah, I think my podcasts are pretty cool, but of course that's just me being narcissistic. But anyhow, not sure if we're going to get much of any viewership tonight because it's almost 10:30, and I know I said earlier today that it'd be between 8 and 10 that I'd start. I didn't even make that goal. So it's much later than I've ever really done a podcast, but we're still going to do it anyway. If no one shows up, I'll just kind of talk because, whatever. So yeah, why not? And now usually on a podcast, you have more than one person to actually talk to, but I just got me. That's all. Probably get someone else to do it if I wanted to. I just don't. This is the way. It's the way we do it. So anyways, also, there was no podcast last week. I said that kind of in one of my streams, but I never really made an official announcement on the channel. But I was on a special family vacation last week that I just didn't feel like doing a podcast with that going on. So we did not have a podcast last week. So I'm probably going to cover some things that maybe happened last week that I didn't get to talk about on that podcast. So we'll start there with the Splatfest last weekend, because that kind of would have fallen into the category of the Splatfest of the podcast last week, which we didn't actually get around to doing. So yeah, that was an interesting Splatfest. It was salsa versus guacamole, which was really, really weird. But anyways, like I said on that live stream for that Splatfest, I do enjoy dipping my chips in both salsa and guacamole when I go to Mexican restaurants. Usually the salsa comes free with the meal, and you have to pay extra for the guacamole, which I think is kind of annoying. I think, in my opinion, that chips, salsa, queso, and guacamole should all be included as appetizers with your meal, because I like to dip my chips in queso, guacamole, and salsa. Salsa comes free, but you got to pay extra for the queso and guacamole. Guacamole is usually not that pricey, but usually you got to pay a lot for queso, which is annoying. In my opinion, every Mexican meal should just come with chips, queso, guacamole, and salsa. That's how I see it. But anyhow, that was a Splatfest on whether you should dip your chips in salsa or guacamole, which I thought was kind of a dumb Splatfest idea. But I mean, they're desperate. I mean, we had the pulp versus no pulp in your orange juice. That one was dumb, but because they were out of ideas, I guess. Yeah. And then they had, not long after that, the Inkling versus Octoling Splatfest, which that was just brilliant. Seems like we got these really weird alternations between Splatfests that are absolutely brilliant and Splatfests that just they're just weird. And this weekend was just kind of weird. Salsa completely won in all categories. I'm not all that surprised, just because I know a lot of people don't like avocados and therefore don't like salsa or don't like guacamole because they don't like the fruit of the avocado. Personally, I think avocados are amazing. They're delicious. I literally eat them straight. They're amazing. Avocados are the greatest. But, I mean, whatever. Salsa appeals to a wider variety of audiences, which is probably why that won literally everything. So, good for it. So, if you like salsa, that one. I wasn't really feeling that strong of a connection to my guacamole team. I just kind of picked that because, I mean, if someone asked me, you can either have guacamole or salsa or queso, then of course I'm going to choose queso. But that wasn't an option for the Splatfest. So if someone asked me, you can only have salsa or guacamole, I would go with guacamole. I just really like avocados, so I loved my guacamole. It's delicious, dip chips and guacamole. Um, but yeah, that was just kind of a silly Splatfest. I'm already kind of wondering what the next Splatfest is going to be. Um, and by the way, Splatfest will be going on until July of next year at least. Probably that's when it's going to end, though. There was a video from the Splatoon 2 producer that was actually went up on the Nintendo UK channel. They don't tend to do as many they don't tend to do quite as many kind of update type things, just talking about stuff on the US YouTube channel. So I highly recommend that even if you don't live in the UK, I mean, I live in the US. Most of my viewers probably live in the US. If you live in the US, I still think it's a good idea to go subscribe to the Nintendo UK YouTube channel because there's a lot of stuff that tends to pop up on the UK YouTube channel, just some special insider info, I guess, that you just don't get on the US info channel. So I definitely go subscribe to Nintendo's UK channel. Anyways, they had a video talking about the Splatoon 2 4.3 update that's supposed to drop this Wednesday, with a few little balancing tweaks and some new special, or I'm sorry, clothing bonuses. I don't know what they're called. The abilities on clothing, a couple new abilities, and some other balancing. And he said, we will continue to have Splatfests and updates to balance the game until July of next year. He didn't say that was all he said. So yeah, I'm not sure how much I trust them though, because ARMS they said ARMS would receive support an entire year after launch, and they stopped adding new characters before a year, before the first year anniversary. But they were still having party crashes, which is kind of ARMS' special event. Like Splatoon 2 has their Splatfests, ARMS has party crashes. There was one this weekend. Anyways, they continue to have party crashes in ARMS special events, and that's how they're justifying continued support. It's been over a year since ARMS launched, and they're saying there's continued support after launch, a whole year after launch, because they're still doing the special events by that point. But there's no new characters or really no big content updates to the game, which is unfortunate, and those stopped before the 1 year is up. Basically, what I'm saying is they can be a little sneaky sometimes, so you want to watch out. But I think I kind of trust this one that there will probably be Splatfests and there'll be new weapons and new stages added, as well as Splatfest going on until July of next year, which is nice because I think Splatfest in the original Splatoon game, Splatfest only went on for 1 year after launch, but this will be 2 years after launch if they stop Splatfest in July of this year. So that's good to know. Yeah. What else is there to talk about now? So I mean, basically they got this they had November, so December, January, February, March, April, May, June, and we'll assume they do a second anniversary in July. There's 8 more Splatfests that they need to cover. So I'm not really sure where they're going to get the rest of these ideas. Most of the good ones were taken by Splatoon 1, like for instance, Cats versus Dogs was taken by Splatoon 1. Cake versus Ice Cream was also a good idea, but they used that in the global test fire for a Splatfest. So that one's taken. Seems like most of the good ones are kind of taken, so we're just kind of in weird territory. The one thing I'd like to see, you guys can let me know whether this actually occurred in Splatoon 1, because I don't think it did, but I don't know all the Splatfests from Splatoon 1. But I think they should do a hot dog versus hamburger Splatfest. I think that's a good idea. Better than salsa versus guacamole, at least. Definitely better than pulp versus no pulp orange juice. That was just kind of retarded. Anyways, so then the other thing, there was also another special event the week after Splatfest, a party crash in ARMS. And this is starting a new thing that they're calling Party Crash Bash. Party Crash Bash. It's going to be like a bracket style tournament where all the fighters are going to go down the brackets, and to eventually determine a overarching winning arms fighter, um, which I'm personally predicting will be Ninjara, but I cannot be absolutely certain of that. I'm personally rooting for Springman or Springtron, one of those two, either of those two winning, but I think it might actually end up being Ninjara, just because Ninjara is an extremely popular character. Most people who have never played Arms before will pick up the game, and that's instinctively the character they'll choose. They'll see Ninjara, they'll say, he looks cool. I'm gonna go with him. And a lot of big arms fans have a specific attachment to Ninjara as well. So that's why I'm personally predicting Ninjara will win. He just seems to be the most popular character because, I mean, he's a ninja, so everybody likes ninjas. Also, he's pretty easy to use, and his abilities are nice, nice stuff. So that's that. Anyways, this Party Crash first week of Party Crash Bash, they're not really doing anything special for Party Crash Bash, other than the fact that that tournament bracket does exist. But other than the existence of the tournament bracket, nothing special about Party Crash Bash. Um, it doesn't even say Party Crash Bash in the game; it just says Party Crash. There's actually no mention to the tournament in the game. That was just on Nintendo's website and in the news feed on the Switch. It mentioned, and they actually had the bracket printed in the news feed on the Switch. So when I originally had my video talking about Party Crash Bash, I said I wish I could see the bracket. Well, if you guys go to the news feed under Switches and find the article talking about Party Crash Bash, they do have the bracket printed there. I also showed that in my live stream yesterday. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So I was kind of hoping they again do some special stuff for Party Crash Bash. They didn't really, other than the tournament bracket, which will be pretty neat. I like that they're doing something a little special. Party Crashes in general. Let me put it this way: I think Splatfests are better at creating hype for the event and making each event feel special. But Party Crash is better at keeping you entertained throughout the entire thing, if you know what I'm saying. Splatoon 2, it's usually a very unique and good kind of competition. You have Pearl and Marina figures arguing to kind of set the tone. And it's being hyped up for a while. You got the T-shirts, and then the entire Inkopolis Plaza dancing different colors. They should do a really good job about making each event feel special and unique. And I don't know. There's just a better build-up atmosphere in Splatfest. But then the problem with Splatfest, in my opinion, is once you actually start playing Splatfest, it gets boring pretty fast. You're just playing Turf War over and over and over again, and there's no variety in the gameplay other than Shifty Station. That's kind of neat. But other than that, no variety in the gameplay. They've tried to change that a little bit by originally adding Shifty Station and now adding in the 10 times and 100 times battles. But that just doesn't do enough for me to keep me intrigued. Party Crush, on the other hand, does an absolutely terrible job for some reason of hyping up the event. They seem to do everything right on paper. They have two fighters going up against each other. There's usually a theme like food fight or best frenemies or something like that. And it's got the special change in the music, change in tone on the menu. It seems on paper like it does everything right, but for some reason it just doesn't work. I've never really felt the same kind of attachment, I guess, or excitement for a Party Crash like I've had for Splatfest. Every Splatfest, no matter how stupid, I always get excited. The way that it's presented makes it exciting. But the way Party Crash is presented does not make it exciting to me in any way. And I'm not really sure why. That's just kind of what I've noticed. So going forward, if there's ever a sequel to ARMS, Nintendo should make the special events a little more special somehow. Take some cues from Splatoon 2, which I think the entire idea of Party Crash was taking cues from Splatoon 2 in the first place. They kind of just copied that game a lot. But yeah, that's that. Neat. I'm pretty tired. But what I was saying was the advantage to Party Crash is once you actually get into the system of Party Crash, it does a better job of keeping you engaged. You have the regular fights going on, and all the varieties are included in Party Crash. In Splatfest, you only have Turf War. The other game modes are not playable. Um, so that kind of adds to some boredom after a while. ARMS, all of the modes are playable. So that keeps you interested as you're going through different game modes. Then there's also the bonus periods, which I think is what ARMS does best with the Party Crushes, is the bonus periods, an opportunity to score some bonus points. And there's always kind of a theme, like headlock craziness or some more fun things like big time arms and so much rush and bombs away that present very unique things into arms uh, as a whole that isn't really present otherwise. Um, and those are very short, and they pop up like every 15 minutes, I think, which is just enough time to like keep you engaged, if you know what I'm saying. So I think in that way, Party Crush does a much better job than Splatfest of keeping you engaged throughout the entire event, whereas Splatfest does a better job of making you attached to the event, if you kind of know what I'm saying. So I kind of think they should both take cues from each other. And when we do get Splatoon 3 or ARMS 2 or wherever that is on the next console, hopefully they can take cues from each other and create the ultimate Splatfest and the ultimate Party Crash. Perfect, or at least perfect in my mind. Hopefully they can work that out. And another big thing in news that's kind of come up within the last couple of days is related to music extenders on YouTube. And it's really unfortunate. Most of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate soundtrack got leaked out, not officially released by Nintendo, just leaked out. And a lot of YouTubers took the risk of extending and uploading those music files that were not legally released yet, basically just to be one of the first ones to upload it to get the views. There were a few that stepped out, most notably Brawl. I can never pronounce his name. But he's one of my favorites. He seems to always have some of the best music extensions, best quality music extensions, in my opinion. But he stayed out of the Smash Ultimate, which I thought was unfortunate at first because I really liked the way he does his extension style. And so I really wanted to have all the Smash Ultimate music that had been leaked out done in his extension style. So I was a little bit upset about that. I had to watch these other channels. But what basically happened this weekend is Nintendo went through and put copyright strikes, not just claims. There's a difference. Copyright claim is kind of a warning. Copyright strike is just downright, you've done something very bad. There is a big difference. I get copyright claims all the time on my channel, and it's really no big deal. Usually you just dispute them a little bit and they give in. I don't know. Copyright claims are not as big of a deal. Copyright strike is more when you've explicitly violated their rights to copyright content. I don't really know exactly how to explain. Sorry, I'm gonna move this desk a little bit. There we go. Just give me a little bit more comfort. And so Nintendo went through and put copyright strikes on pretty much all the channels that had uploaded the Super Smash Brothers Ultimate leaked music. So all that leaked music is now pretty much gone off of YouTube. It's impossible to find anymore, which is unfortunate because I was really enjoying it all. But just wait like a few more weeks when the game actually comes out and the music is officially legally released. Then we can listen to it again because Brawl will be uploading it, which I'll explain why in a second. So these other YouTubers that did upload the leaked music that was not legally released yet got copyright strike by Nintendo because they were putting up their own copyrighted. They're putting up copyright content that had not officially been released yet, which is a really big no-no. It's still under like confidential in terms of Nintendo's eyes, I guess, under Nintendo's umbrella. And so they striked all the channels, and a bunch of those channels are going to be completely terminated. Crunchy music extensions, Digitifier, something like that. Several other channels I've seen all have the copyright strikes. They're kind of locked out of their channels, and they will be terminated within the last few weeks. And that's what really sucks about this. Yeah, they took a stupid risk And it was completely their own fault. I'm not saying Nintendo should take the claims or take the copyright strikes back. It was these people's fault. They uploaded technically illegal um, music onto their channel, violated copyright rules, all that kind of stuff. But when these channels get terminated within the next few weeks, all the music, all the music that has been extended on those channels is going to be gone. Like not just Smash Ultimate, everything. We're talking about all the way back to like Pokemon Red and Blue, Super Mario Brothers on the NES. I don't know. Any music that's been extended on these channels is all going to be gone within the next couple of weeks. So the entirety of the channels are being terminated. And that's what's really shocking about all of this. Now, the good thing is, the, in my opinion, best extensions were always done by Brawl. And those are always going to be here because Brawl was smart. While I thought he was dumb at first, he was smart. He did not take the risk, did not upload any Smash Ultimate tracks except for the ones that he knew were legally released and that he was allowed to upload. He did not take the risk otherwise. And so his channel is fine. And I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, his channel is the only channel currently that will not be terminated in terms of Nintendo music extensions. So pretty much within the next couple of weeks, the only Nintendo music extensions left on YouTube will be Brawls. He's kind of has a monopoly on music extensions now, I guess. And these other ones, they've got all their videos copied, and they're going to try and start other replacement channels. Even though technically when your channel gets terminated, you're not allowed to ever have another channel. Somehow they're trying to do that anyway, which is kind of stupid to me. You've already gotten in trouble for violating a rule. You're going to go violate another rule. But anyways, we'll see within the next couple of months if these secondary channels go back up and re-upload all the extensions. But it's just all the stuff's going to disappear off YouTube, and it's going to be sad. Luckily, of course, Brawl's extensions will always be here, at least for the time being. So thanks, Brawl, for not being stupid and not taking the risks, except for the ones you're willing to take. So thankfully, we still have all the music that he's uploaded, at least for now. And he's kind of been the biggest uploader of extended music for a while. So thank you. I mean, I actually don't feel that sad right now. If Brawl had maybe uploaded that illegal music and he was getting striked as well, and his channel was being terminated, and like all music would be gone off YouTube, then I would be really, really sad right now, probably crying myself to sleep. But luckily, Brawl's okay. So we've got his music extensions, at least after all these other channels get terminated. So I don't actually feel that bad anymore. I mostly just watched Brawl's music extensions anyway. I didn't really watch any of the other ones, so there wasn't really a need for the other channels. It's just sad to see the other channels go, even though I didn't really watch them. You got to get what I'm saying with that. So that's that whole conversation. But yeah, I don't know if anybody's watching. If you want to chat, you can. I know it's pretty late. I usually don't do the podcast this late. Seems like I've been doing them later and later every week. So apologize for that. But yeah, that's a thing. So what else happened? I don't know. I'm just gonna go look up on my. I don't even remember what videos I've been uploading the last few days. I'm gonna go just look up my own channel here. Nothing weird about that. Yeah, we had the Super Mario Odyssey costumes that have been added into the game. We got Santa Claus costume. If you want to make a Santa Mario, I guess you can do that now. Arriving in time for the holidays. So that's good. It's interesting they're still supporting the game, although it's kind of weird that all they're really doing is releasing costumes. But at least it's being supported in some way, because there are some games, Breath of the Wild, that aren't really getting anything at all. But yeah, we got new. There's also the new 8-bit costume, which I've heard from other people is pretty much absolutely useless. So yeah, it also costs 9,999 coins, which is the maximum number of coins you can hold at a time. So you have to max out your coins in order to get the costume, and it makes you look 8-bit, but there's no change in the animation from what I've been told or anything. Um, it's just kind of a waste. But the Santa's cool, and the Santa outfits is pretty cheap, so it shouldn't take you that long to get enough coins to buy the Santa outfit, and that'll be all good. And you can be dressed Mario dressed as Santa for the holidays. That is, if you're still playing that game. I personally beat the main story of that game within just a couple of days, and I was too lazy to ever go for 100% completion. I will at some point, but I just kind of left it alone since I beat the main story. But there is a lot to do post game in Mario Odyssey. Tons more moons to collect. It's basically all you do in that game is collect moons. But there's hundreds, literally hundreds of moons to collect in the post game. So that's a thing. Yeah. Oh, and then there was the part where I went to Dollywood like last week. That was cool. Have not been at the park since July, so about 4 months since I've been there. So it was good to go back. My first time visiting for this Smoky Mountain Christmas event that they had, which was really neat. Um, Not much going on during the day, really. I mean, they had some decorations. What really shone about that event was at night. It was amazing. The light displays were amazing. They weren't as concentrated as I thought. Like you'd have a lot of like lights concentrated in one area, and then there might be a pathway or two you went down where there were no lights whatsoever. But they had some cool displays. Like they had my favorite was they call them the Northern Lights, and they had these giant strands of lights that hung from like the trees in between walkways down like maybe a foot or two above your head. And at night they lit up different colors, blue, green, and stuff, and they were kind of synchronized so that it kind of looked like the northern lights above your head as you were walking through. This path I'm talking about goes basically through the forest, connecting two sections of the park. It connects Crestman's Valley to Wilderness Pass, kind of goes straight through like a forested area. So that was really neat. I love that. But a lot of the other Christmas displays they had were awesome. They had some like illuminated polar bears on fake icebergs at the lake by Thunderhead. That was funny. And overall, the rides weren't running that bad for the winter. I mean, yeah, I rode Wild Eagle and it was running pretty dang slow, but it was actually really fun because you got a crazy amount of hang time going through those inversions, especially the zero G roll. I really felt myself shift on that. Um, the hang time was great. I don't know because Wild Eagle, when I ride it in the fall, it's going fast, and I didn't like it in the fall because when you ride it in the fall, it's going fast enough that there's no hang time, but slow enough it's not that thrilling. It's great in the summer because you are flying and it's just really fun. Winter's pretty fun because you're going slow enough you get a ton of hang time. Which, if any of you don't know what that is, you don't not coaster enthusiast. Hang time is when you go through an inversion, which is basically when it goes upside down. You might call that a loop if you don't know what you're talking about. But you'll go through a loop really slow and you'll actually hang, just have the restraint holding you up, hanging upside down. Um, that's the thing. Yeah, anyways, Wild Eagle, good. Um, Tennessee Tornado, I tried really hard to get a night ride, but ended up getting a sunset ride. So it was fine, I guess. I still really want a night ride on that at some point. Anyhow, um, Tennessee Tornado was pretty fun. I could tell no difference between Tennessee Tornado in the winter and the summer, which was a little weird. Fire Chaser Express waited like 40 minutes and it was running really slow, like not even fun slow. So that was poopy. Thunderhead has gotten about 10 times more rough since July. Like actually used to genuinely enjoy that ride, like I don't know, last year. But every time I ride it, it's just more and more rough. Give it another year or two, it's going to be unbearable. What I'm scared is going to happen is I'm scared Dollywood's going to see that not many people are riding Thunderhead and think, oh, we should tear it down and replace it with something else. When it's actually still an excellent ride, it just needs a good retracking. So hopefully within the next few years, they'll have GCI come in and completely retrack Thunderhead and make it, nice. Also, GCI has these new trains that I actually don't like that much. They're kind of more hybrid focused trains, but they have like a T bar, like a pneumatic T bar. They're called the Infinity Flyer trains. They're current Millennium Flyer trains, like what's on Thunderhead, they have a ratcheting lap bar, which I think is awesome because it always doesn't quite come down all the way because of the way that the ratchet locking system works. You still get about an inch or two of airtime. Um, those Infinity Flare trains have a T bar that's very close fitting. Think like RMC, like that thing's gonna just staple you, which I think is gonna kind of ruin the GCI experience. We'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that a lot of parks continue to use the Millennium Flyer trains on traditional wooden coasters, and the Infinity Flyer trains will just be for GCI's new hybrids, which I mean, hopefully that ends up being a thing. Getting kind of off on tangents here because I'm not sure what else to talk about. Also, awesome with Dollywood, they had this Christmas tree with like multicolored lights on it, and they had this kind of show about every 15 minutes while it was dark, where they had music in the Christmas tree. Would have different designs on it, polar bears dancing across, and snowflakes and things like that, synchronized to the music, and they have fake snow. I don't know. That was just really, really neat. Um, oh, I forgot to mention Lightning Rod. Lightning Rod was actually running. It broke down in the morning, and I was like, "Oh shoot," because I wanted to ride it. But then it opened back up in the afternoon. Got it some rides. It was running pretty dang slow, but it was still pretty fun. I'd still say it's the best ride there, even when it is running super duper slow. Um, the first drop. Here's my verdict with the new trains on Lightning Rod. They got new trains. The drop is not near as thrilling as it used to be. It used to be a pretty thrilling drop. It's not that thrilling anymore. Not near as good as it used to be. So that was really disappointing because I really liked Lightning Rod's drop before. It's not that good anymore. But the airtime is still crazy. I think there's actually more airtime with the new trains than the old ones. So if you like airtime, this is still your ride. 100%. Still, it's still, even with the not so thrilling drop, it's still my favorite roller coaster so far. Still like it better than Fury 325. No, Fury 325 was an amazing ride, but I think it's just the slightest bit overrated. People talk about Fury like it's the best roller coaster ever, and I understand why people could have that opinion. Here's basically what I thought of Fury. You go up this really tall lift hill, which is terrifying. You drop down 325 feet, hence the name Fury 325, which is a really exhilarating, thrilling drop. My favorite drop on any roller coaster. Let's go there. Favorite drop on any roller coaster. It feels like you're falling forever, and yeah, your guts are going to be at the top of that drop. Like I don't even know. It almost makes you sick. It's such a good drop. And then after that, you just kind of fly around some bank turns that don't really accomplish anything. There's no G-force whatsoever, no airtime on those bank curves. You're just flying at about 96 miles an hour, I think, just kind of curving in random directions, accomplishing literally nothing. And then you dive under the pedestrian path, which I thought was going to be pretty cool, but actually wasn't that cool because you're still flying at like 90 miles an hour at that point. So you don't really even realize that you flew under a pedestrian bridge. You go into some more pointless big turns that accomplish literally nothing. And then there's a giant airtime hill where you actually get an insane amount of airtime. And that's when I was like, wow, this is getting good. And then there's like a really slow helix that's really slow for some apparent reason. Then there are two more airtime hills that are really thrilling. And then there's the brake run. So basically, out of that entire ride, which by the way is the longest steel coaster in North America, it's about a 2-minute, 30-second ride experience down about 6,000 something feet of track. And out of that whole experience, 3 airtime hills, which is probably about 15 seconds total, plus the first drop were the only good parts. So that's my Fury 325 verdict. Still a really fun ride, but quite a bit overrated. I like Lightning Rod better, even though most people say Fury is their favorite. But yeah, I think I might be signing off this podcast pretty soon. Vinny Congetti said hi, good night, and bye. So peace out, Vinny. Thanks for stopping by. Unless anybody else wants to comment on anything, I think I'm going to be heading out of here soon because I don't really have much else to really talk about at the moment. So yeah, be sure if you haven't already, I'm sure any of you watching this are most likely subscribed. If you're not, though, you should subscribe and make sure that you have notifications enabled. Because having notifications enabled will make sure that you don't miss any other live streams in the future I might do, since my live streams is pretty spontaneous. Just whenever I feel like streaming, I stream. Um, ooh, that was a big gust of wind. It sounded like someone like threw a boulder on the side of the house. That kind of freaked me out. Yeah, it's picking up. I'm gonna check the weather real quick. I don't know, 0% rain chance. I don't know what's going on. It's just really windy outside. It's kind of freaky. Anyways, notifications enabled so you don't miss anything else.
It's 11 o'clock.
Thanks for that, Siri. Siri told us it's 11 o'clock. So that's a good time for me to sign off. Notifications enabled because my live streams are spontaneous. And of course, be back here next Sunday night if you want to see and comment live on this next week's podcast. And hopefully, I'll have some other videos out soon. I might not have videos out as much anymore. I'm really trying to find a balance between quantity and quality. I really want to work on some higher quality videos, like better editing. Really work on color correction because some of my older videos look really nasty. The new ones aren't great, and I'm starting to do better. I'm trying to work harder on that color correction and things like that to make them really crisp and clear. And kind of go for a more professional look and feel on a lot of my videos, which takes a lot of time. But I'm also fractioning off more of my day toward that. Usually, I would just whatever time I had left at the end of the day would be what I worked on YouTube with. But now I try to take time out of every day to work on YouTube content for you guys. So hopefully, we can progress that a bit. Anyways, I don't really know what else to talk about, so I think I'm going to be out of here. But yeah, thanks, guys, for your continued support. Oh, before I leave, there was something else I wanted to do. I want to check out some analytics. Where'd my phone go? What the heck? What the what's? I can't find it. Wow. If I don't find it, it's all right. I can just look on my computer. I'm just going to hit. If you hear a noise, I'm hitting the ping iPhone on my watch. Hey, Apple Watch. We're hitting ping iPhone on Apple Watch. For some reason, that toggle looks green on the camera. What the heck? Just so you guys know, that toggle is blue. Why does it look green on the camera? That's weird, because you see the phone. If I look at the watch right now, the phone is definitely green. That is blue. They're distinctly different colors. They look the same on the camera. What the heck? I'm hitting ping. We're going to find this. Hey, I found it. I'll be back. This is what you call high quality content, y'all. So I just kind of want to go over analytics. I meant to do that at the beginning of the stream, but I forgot. Kind of want to go over analytics for the week, just so we can kind of see how the channel is doing. So for this week, we have 10 new subscribers. So that's pretty crazy, actually. So if you were one of the 10 who subscribed this week, thank you very much. If you have your subscriptions enabled to view publicly, then I can actually look at that. So within the last week, we've had 3 with their subscriptions to public. So special thanks to Kaylin Martinez Guzman. Special thanks to Ultimate Icarus 8. And special thanks to Five Nights at Craig. If I pronounced any of those wrong, sorry. But special shout outs to you 3 for being the 3 new subscribers of the week, who of course have your notifications enabled to public. But there were 10 new subscribers this week, so obviously 7 people have their subscriptions on private. So if you want to be maybe shouted out or featured, you want to have your notifications enabled to publicly viewable, or your subscriptions to publicly viewable, so I can see who is subscribed to me, and I can see who's going to be called out, shouted out, that thing. So yeah, those are the 3 shout outs for the week. 10 new subscribers in total. So that's a pretty dang good week. There are some weeks that don't get any new subscribers. So we got 10 more just in this week. So thank you very much to all of you guys. In terms of views for the week, we have a pretty dandy 3,770 views for the week, which is pretty dang good. I mean, obviously, I'd like to be higher than that at some point, but I mean, that's still pretty good. When I probably a year ago from today, I never would have imagined getting 3,000 or almost 4,000 views in a week. So I am inclined to say I wish I had more, but maybe I'm just being a little bit greedy, and I should not take what I have for granted. Because, like I said, a year ago from today, 4,000 in a week would be like me jumping for joy or passing out or something like that on that news. And watch time in minutes, we have at about 6,397 minutes of watch time in the last 7 days. Um, which, I mean, watch time's a little bit harder to consider because videos are different lengths. You can't really compare views with watch time, in my opinion, because views on like a 30-minute video are obviously going to have longer watch times than views on a 2-minute video. But I do think that the 6,000 hours of or 6,000 minutes of watch time is probably pretty dang good, comparatively speaking, to the 4,000 views, 2,000 more um, minutes of watching than views. But yeah, I think that's pretty much where we're going to wrap up. So thanks, guys. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.